immediately locked onto something shining in a glass case, a beautiful golden watch. The intricate design, the polished surface, and the way it glowed under the store lights made it irresistible. "That's a special piece," the old shopkeeper said. "It once belonged to a very powerful man. Some say it brings great fortune, but only to those who wear it with humility." Jake smirked. "Fortune, huh? Sounds like my kind of watch." Ignoring the old man's words, he bought the watch, slipped it onto his wrist, and admired the way it sparkled. He couldn't wait to show it off. The next day, strange things started happening. Everywhere Jake went, people noticed him. Strangers smiled, doors opened for him, and job offers came out of nowhere. He even won a lottery scratch ticket without trying. It was as if the watch really was bringing him luck. Excited, he took every opportunity to flaunt his new charmed life. At work, he bragged about his sudden success. At parties, he made sure everyone saw the golden watch. "This thing is magical," he told them. "I'm probably the luckiest guy alive." But then something changed. One evening, while showing off the watch at a high-end restaurant, he glanced at his wrist and froze. The watch looked different. The gold had lost its shine. The hands, which always moved perfectly, were now stuck. Suddenly, he felt dizzy. His vision blurred, and an eerie chill ran through him. He stood up, but his legs felt weak. As he reached for his glass of water, his hand trembled. The people around him, who had been admiring him moments ago, barely seemed to notice him anymore. Jake rushed outside, gasping for air. He pulled off the watch, staring at it in horror. It was no longer golden. It had turned dull and lifeless. Panicked, he ran back to the antique store. The old shopkeeper was waiting, as if he had expected Jake to return. "You didn't listen, did you?" the old man said, shaking his head. "I told you, the watch brings fortune, but only to the humble." Jake's heart pounded. What's happening to me?" The shopkeeper sighed. "The watch rewards those who don't seek attention. But the moment you show off, it starts taking back what it gave." Jake looked down at his hands. His fingers were shaking, his expensive watch now worthless. He thought about everything. The sudden luck, the admiration, the success. It was all fake, not earned, just borrowed. And now, it was slipping away. That night, Jake made a decision. He stopped showing off, stopped seeking attention, and started focusing on real success. He worked hard, not for praise, but for growth. He helped others without expecting recognition. And slowly, the luck returned, not from a magical watch, but from the power of humility. Years later, Jake passed by the same antique store. He smiled, thinking about the lesson that had changed his life. The golden watch was gone, but he didn't need it anymore, because now he was the one in control of his own fortune. Lesson: when you seek attention for your success, you risk losing what truly matters. Real fortune comes to those who stay humble and let their actions, not their words, define them.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to Path of Greatness for more inspiring content.
There was a guy named Jake Matthews. He was in his late 20s, tall, sharp-dressed, and super confident. Jake worked in this big corporate office in New York, and to be honest, he thought he was better than everyone else. He had this mindset that life was all about stepping on people to climb the ladder, and he did just that. Jake would take credit for his colleagues' work, manipulate situations to make others look bad, and he treated people, especially those he thought were beneath him, like they didn't matter. The janitors, the interns, Even the guy who brought coffee? To Jake, they were invisible. But here's where it gets interesting. One day, the company announced a massive promotion opportunity. This was Jake's big shot to finally get that corner office he always dreamed of. But there was competition, serious competition. A guy named Daniel, humble, hardworking, and respected by everyone in the office, was also in the running. Unlike Jake, Daniel treated everyone kindly, from the CEO to the cleaning staff. Now Jake, being Jake, couldn't handle the idea of losing, so he came up with a plan. He spread false rumors about Daniel, subtle, sneaky things that made people question Daniel's integrity. Emails mysteriously went missing, projects got accidentally sabotaged, and fingers were quietly pointed at Daniel. At first, it seemed like Jake's plan was working. Daniel's reputation started taking a hit. The office buzzed with whispers, and Daniel, though confused, stayed silent, believing the truth would eventually come out. Fast forward to the day of the promotion announcement. Jake walked into the office, confident, almost smug, ready to hear his name. But when the CEO stepped up, he said something no one saw coming. "We'd like to congratulate our new senior manager, Daniel." The entire office erupted in applause. Jake's jaw hit the floor. How? He did everything to sabotage Daniel, and yet here he was, getting the promotion. But wait, this is where karma steps in. After the meeting, the CEO pulled Jake aside. "Jake," he said, "I know you're probably wondering why you didn't get the promotion. Let me tell you something. Your work was impressive. But in this company, we value character as much as competence." Turns out, Daniel wasn't just a good employee. He was connected in ways Jake never realized. Remember how Jake always ignored the janitors, the interns, the coffee guy? Well, the janitor he looked down on? That was Daniel's uncle. The intern he treated like garbage? Daniel's cousin. And the guy who brought coffee every morning? Daniel's best friend. They saw everything, every lie, every dirty trick, every backstab. Without Daniel even knowing, they'd been quietly documenting Jake's behavior. And when the time came, they shared it with the higher-ups. Jake wasn't just passed over for the promotion, he was fired on the spot for unethical conduct. Security escorted him out, and as he walked past his now ex-colleagues, he finally realized the people he thought didn't matter were the very ones who sealed his fate. But here's the kicker. A few months later, Jake was struggling to find a new job. His reputation followed him everywhere. One day, desperate, he walked into a small cafe, hoping to at least get some work to pay his bills. And guess who was managing the cafe? Daniel. But instead of gloating, Daniel simply said, "I believe in second chances. You can start tomorrow." That was the day Jake truly understood what karma was. Not just punishment for his actions, but also the grace he didn't deserve. And from that moment forward, Jake changed. He learned to treat people with respect, not because of what they could do for him, but because it was the right thing to do. So the next time you think no one's watching, remember this: the world has a funny way of balancing things out. Be kind, be honest, because karma doesn't miss. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more inspiring content. Until next time, keep walking your path of greatness. Jason Carter had one dream: to play professional basketball. Growing up in a small Indiana town, he spent countless hours shooting hoops on a cracked neighborhood court, believing hard work would lead to his big break. By high school, Jason was a star, leading his team to state championships and attracting college scouts. But during his senior year, everything changed. In a crucial game, with scouts in the stands, Jason went for a dunk. As he landed, pain shot through his knee. He'd torn his ACL. His scholarship offers disappeared overnight. Doctors told him recovery would take a year. Friends and family gently suggested he move on. But Jason wasn't ready to give up. Through grueling rehab, Jason pushed himself. When he couldn't stand, he shot free throws from a chair. When the pain felt unbearable, he remembered his father's words. It's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. A year later, his knee healed, but the calls from colleges never came. Determined, he enrolled in a small community college with a barely known basketball team. He played with unmatched passion, dominating games. But still, no scouts noticed. In his second year, during a regional tournament, fate stepped in. A Division II scout there to watch another player couldn't ignore Jason's relentless performance. After the game, the scout approached him. "You've got heart, kid. Ever think of playing for us?" It wasn't the NBA, but it was a chance. Jason transferred, worked harder than ever, and by senior year, led the league in scoring. Yet, when the NBA draft came, his name wasn't called. Most would have quit. Jason didn't. He joined a summer league playing against other undrafted players, his determination catching the eye of an NBA scout. Soon after, he was offered a spot in the G League, the NBA's developmental league. For years, Jason battled in the shadows, sharpening his skills. Then one night, he got the call. An NBA team needed a point guard. In his first game, the score was tied in the final seconds. The coach put the ball in Jason's hands. As the clock ticked down, he thought of every setback, every moment he could have quit, but didn't. He took the shot. The buzzer sounded as the ball swished through the net. Jason Carter made it. Not because he never failed, but because he never gave up. Lesson: failure isn't the end. It's a test of how badly you want it. The people who succeed are the ones who refuse to quit, no matter how many times life knocks them down. Keep going. Your next shot might just be the one that changes everything.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to Path of Greatness for more inspiring content. You know, I once attended a seminar where the speaker walked onto the stage holding a glass of water. He just stood there smiling, not saying a word. Naturally, everyone assumed he was going to ask, "Is the glass half full or half empty?" Classic, right? But no. What he said instead caught me completely off guard. He held up the glass and asked, "How heavy do you think this is?" People shouted out answers. 8 ounces, 10 ounces, maybe 12? He nodded, but then he smiled and said, "The weight doesn't really matter. What matters is how long you hold it." He paused for a second, letting that sink in. Hold it for a minute and it's fine. Hold it for an hour and your arm will start to ache. Hold it for a whole day? He shook his head. Your arm will feel numb, paralyzed even. The weight of the glass hasn't changed, but the longer you hold it, the heavier it feels. And then, with a soft tone, he said, "Stress and worries in life are like this glass of water. Hold them for a short while, and they're manageable. Hold them a bit longer, and they start to hurt. But carry them all day, every day, they'll weigh you down to the point where you can't even function." I remember sitting there completely still, realizing how much I'd been holding on to in my life. Unnecessary stress, unresolved arguments, things I had no control over. He then did something simple. He put the glass down. And with that, he said, "No, to feel better, you don't have to ignore the glass. Just put it down for a while. Rest, recharge, and then, when you're ready, pick it back up." You know, that simple analogy changed how I saw stress forever. Now, when life starts to feel overwhelming, I remind myself, It's okay to take a break. Put the glass down, because the longer you hold on to something, the more it will drain you. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is let go. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to Path of Greatness for more inspiring content.
In the bustling city of Chicago lived a young man named Alex Carter. He worked as an ordinary office clerk, drowning in a sea of paperwork. But Alex had a dream: to become a successful writer. Every day he'd come home exhausted, stare at his dusty notebook, and feel overwhelmed. Doubt whispered in his ear, "You're not good enough. This is pointless." And so weeks would pass without him writing a single word. One evening, while riding the subway home, Alex met Mr. Thompson, an elderly man with silver hair, kind blue eyes, and a gentle smile. Mr. Thompson was sketching in a worn-out notebook. Curiosity sparked a conversation, and Alex learned that Mr. Thompson was a retired architect who once struggled with self-doubt too. "The secret to my success wasn't talent," Mr. Thompson said, tapping his pencil thoughtfully. "It was consistency. I sketched one design every single day, whether I felt inspired or not. Over time, those small efforts built my career." Inspired, Alex decided to try. He made a simple rule: write just one page a day. Not a chapter, not a masterpiece, just one page. The first week was tough. Some days his words felt forced and clumsy. Other days, ideas flowed effortlessly. But Alex kept going. Day after day, one page at a time. Weeks turned into months. He filled one notebook, then another. His writing improved, his confidence grew, and soon he had a complete manuscript. But the journey wasn't easy. There were nights when fatigue clawed at him, when rejection letters piled up, and self-doubt crept back in. Yet Alex held on to his routine. He wrote through the noise of doubt, through days of uninspired drafts, and even when success seemed distant. He discovered that the act of showing up mattered more than the quality of a single day's work. Each page, whether brilliant or mediocre, was a step forward. Over time, Alex developed a deeper connection with his craft. He noticed the subtle evolution in his storytelling, the complexity in his characters, and the vividness of his descriptions. His routine became a sacred ritual. Mornings before work or late nights after a grueling day, he sat at his small desk by the window, pouring his thoughts onto paper, while the city lights flickered in the distance. After a year of unwavering consistency, Alex submitted his work to publishers. He faced rejections, but he didn't stop. He kept writing, kept submitting. Every rejection was a lesson, a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. Finally, his persistence paid off. His book got published and became a bestseller, resonating with countless readers who found inspiration in his words. At Bausch's first book signing event, surrounded by fans, Alex spotted Mr. Thompson in the crowd. Their eyes met, and Alex smiled, holding up his book as if to say, "Thank you." After the event, Alex approached him and said, "Your advice changed my life." Mr. Thompson chuckled softly. "You changed your life, Alex. I just reminded you of the power you already had."